try and give you the information you need to successfully transfer, and College of Marin is a good school for transfer. But there's still some myths out there, so I'm going to kind of do a game of truth or myth. Okay. So, community college, not a real college. That doesn't happen until you get to UCs or CSUs.
Myth.
Definitely myth. Okay, yes. This is where you're doing your freshman and sophomore level classes. Those classes, they're going to continue on with you. Your grades are going to continue on with you. This is part of your academic record for the rest of your lives. Okay, so this is where you're building those skills that you need to really succeed at Berkeley. College of Marin is doing a good job of that. Okay, so don't feel like you're not getting those skills. You really are. And we're going to have a group of transfer students here. Lupita's one of them. We've got 2 more students coming here. We're going to tell you their experiences. So you'll get to hear more about that. Okay, so this is where you want to be doing your general education requirements, your major requirements. You can explore those majors, figure out what you want. It's actually a really great place for you to develop a lot of those leadership skills in a much smaller, inviting environment that would be much harder if you started at Berkeley. Okay, Berkeley's a gigantic school. There's, I think, about 25,000 undergrads. And there's a lot of people who have a lot of ambition, and if you were running for office here at Cal, it's a really cutthroat competitive thing. When you're in your community colleges, you have this great place to develop those leadership skills. So all of you who are still haven't applied yet, start doing some of those things, okay? Because we really look for that when we're looking at the applications. Okay, you have to transfer in 2 years. True?
Myth.
Yes. A lot of students come to me and say, I'm trying to do 20 units because I've got to transfer in 2 years. Don't do that. Please, don't do that, right? I've seen that so many times where students take those 20 units, and then it's not that you're not smart, you can't do it, it's just too many units. And that starts having a ripple effect on all your grades. If you stayed another year and you took a regular amount and you had all A's in there, you're going to be much more likely to be admitted to Berkeley, to have more choices than if you try and do those 20 units and you end up with some B's and maybe a C in there. Not so good. Okay. And if you're ever thinking of grad school, those grades are going to go on with you. So don't think about just 2 years, I'm out of here, I'm going to be there with everybody else who went in as freshmen. Okay. Because that's not going to get you further on into life. All right. So I think I've already answered some of this. So transferring in more than 2 years, we don't care. Okay, when I'm reading your application, I never give priority to someone who's taken 2 years over someone who's taken longer. Our oldest transfer student that I've worked with recently from College of Marin was last year, 75. Okay, so it's never too late. Our oldest transfer student in 2012 was not from College of Marin, but he was 91. So I'm hoping I remember my name at 91, right? I'm not sure I could come back to all that reading, but it is never too late. It doesn't matter how long you're there. What we want to know like if you have to stop and come back in your personal statement, you want to give us some context of what was going on in your life. Okay. Successful transfer students are the ones who've got all the necessary units. How many units? 60. Yeah. You got to have your GE requirements. So I know that Andrea said you all have your IGETC. Is IGETC always what you need? No. Okay, you see, you don't need me. You guys know what you're doing. All right. And then you got to have your major requirements. And I know Andrea gave me a bunch of your majors, so we can come back to talking about majors and requirements and all those things in a moment. Okay, you have to have a 4.0 to transfer to Berkeley.
Almost. No.
It's kind of a myth, right? It's going to depend on your major. So do we have any architecture majors here? Okay, so if you are applying to architecture, there are only 19 community colleges in the whole of the state of California that teach those design classes. So when you apply to Berkeley, as long as you have the design classes and you have all the breadth requirements and you have everything they're looking for, if you had a 3.0, it is very likely they would admit you. Okay, so you don't need a 4.0 to get into that. There is nothing that you really need a 4.0 to get into, because we don't only look at your GPA. We're looking at the story behind that GPA. So what does that GPA mean? And that's where we really want to hear from you in your personal statement. We look for what else you have to offer us, so extracurricular activities. Hi, come on in. Come take a seat. So we look for extracurricular activities. We look to see who you are, you as a person. Okay. So one of the things that you should know about Berkeley, or as you often would think, is that Berkeley has a set of values where we really want students on our campus who are going to make a contribution